Hey guys, in our last video we learned how to install the USB driver for your ESP32 board. In today's video we will see how you can make a fully functional IoT device by flashing the Kreator firmware. In this particular video we will primarily be focusing on flashing the firmware, and in the next video we will talk about configuring your IoT device. Now before we proceed with the process of flashing the firmware, I will take a minute or two to explain what are the benefits of using the Kreator firmware over writing your own Arduino code. So there are basically two ways you can program your ESP32 device. The first way is basically install the Arduino IDE and do all the necessary configurations into the IDE, and then write your own code which you finally use to program your ESP32. Now let me tell you that writing a stable piece of code into the hardware, it's a little tedious job and also needs a lot of testing under different scenarios, like what happens if the Wi-Fi is lost, and how quickly your device reconnects in some negative scenarios and things like that. So there's a lot of intricacies involved when you are writing the hardware level code. So folks, owing to the complexity of writing firmware, I don't feel this is the best possible way any existing software developer or student should start their IT career with. So the second way I recommend is using the Kreator firmware, which helps you create an IoT device within a matter of minutes. It might involve downloading certain softwares for the very first time use, and once you're comfortable, it hardly takes 2 to 5 minutes to upload a new version of the binary. Now let me also help you understand what are the benefits of using the binaries. See, the first thing is you will have to write absolutely zero line of code, as in you don't have to write any hardware level code, which eases up your life for sure. Second thing is these binaries are pretty much well tested, so the chances of your application not working or you not receiving data, your commands not reaching the device will be pretty much reduced. The second important aspect of these binaries is that these binaries provides you open APIs, and those are pretty much well documented. This basically means that you have total control over your applications and over the device. For the initial configuration, you can always use the Android or the desktop application, but if you want, you can always build a complete software infrastructure around the IoT device that you build using the Kreator binaries. One last important aspect of the binary is that it basically ensures that the developers of the IoT device and the prototype, they own their data. Once this device has been connected to the internet and it has been properly configured with the Firebase configurations, then what happens is that once the device reboots, it sends all the metadata to the cloud, and now this cloud instance is again hosted and owned by the developer. So this makes more sense for a web development team where they would like to create a landing page where they list the number of devices, and then if they want to create a real-time dashboard or they want to create a detailed view of the devices, they can always use the data that is present on the Firebase cloud database, and then they can do whatever functionality they want to implement around it. So this way, this binary actually helps them to own the data, to learn the Firebase concept, and even to create a real-time web interface where they can visualize all sort of real-time data flowing in from the device, and they can even control the IoT device from their web application. So let me just give you a small demonstration of what I just mentioned. Now I believe you can see my Firebase console. Over here, this device, you can see the metadata is already present. Now what I'm going to do is I'm gonna delete this data for now, and you can see I'm going to reboot the device. Now once the device starts, you can see that the metadata of the device will reappear over here. Now we can see that the data has just appeared on the boot of the device. Now I believe everybody has understood why I'm suggesting to use the Kreator firmware. Now let's get started with the flashing process. Now the very first thing that we would like to do is go to Chrome and download the ESP32 flash tool. We will search for ESP32 flash tool online. You can click on the third link, and then you can just go down. You can see this flash download tools. You can download the Windows version of it. Now you can see we have downloaded the flash tool over here. you can move it to any other place. So you can move this tool to either desktop or to any other location of your preference, or you can just let it be here for now. Now go inside this particular tool and launch this particular binary file. It takes a while for the very first time. Now click on this drop down and select ESP32. Let the work mode be develop and click on OK. Now you can see there's an empty window which has appeared over here. So now the next step is basically to get hold of the binaries. For that you might have to download them from the Google Drive. I'm going to share the link in the description. So here are our binaries. Now we will extract the binaries also. Now before you can proceed, you have to ensure that your ESP32 device is connected to your laptop. If you people have any issues connecting the device with the laptop, with your computer, you can take help from one of the videos that I have published on how to install the USB driver for your ESP32. Now once we have the binaries, we will go and select all the binaries over here. Over here paste the location of the binaries. You can see that there are 4 binaries, and you can also observe that there is a hexadecimal address mentioned in the name of the binary. So select this one, click on the checkbox, and now you can see the address over here is 0x1000. Just mention the same address over here. Now we'll go and select the second binary. Select this checkbox, and the address of this one is 0x8000. Now we'll select the third binary. The address of this one is 0x10000. Right. Now let's select the fourth binary. The address for this one is 0xe000. 0xe000. The order of these binaries really doesn't matter. What is more important is that the binary should be flashed at the correct addresses. If you can see here, the SPI speed has to be 40 megahertz. The SPI mode has to be DIO, and then you have to ensure that this particular checkbox is activated. It's checked. Now over here we have to select the right COM port for our ESP32 device once it is connected to the USB port. Let me show you once again how you can get this COM port. You go to Device Manager. You can go to Ports. Over here you can see Silicon Labs CP2102 USB to ART bridge, which is COM5. So for our requirement we have to use COM5, and then we have to click on Start. We'll just wait for the moment, and alternatively you can also go to this command prompt, and you can see some flashing is going on over here, and you can just observe the same thing happening here as well. So we'll just wait for the status to become finished, and then we will reboot our device. You can see now the flashing is completed and the status is now finished. Now all we need to do is just click on the reboot button. You can see it is trying to connect to some Wi-Fi, and it's trying to verify license and all. So basically the device is now functional. So I believe you might have observed that how easy it was to upload the binaries to the ESP32 board and to make it a functional IoT device. In our next video, we'll see how to configure this device and how to start seeing data flowing into the device and flowing out from the device to the dashboards and to some different software components. So stay tuned for my next video. Thank you for watching.